Well, as you know, Europe has a lot of ways to support the national governments, cities, civil society, a lot of actors. But this is often support that goes through national governments, central governments, and then it ends up with actors. I think what is the essence of this city-to-city cooperation is that it is direct relations between cities from Europe, from the South, South, and they can, as peers, because they do the same job, they have the same problems, really work directly together to solve concrete problems. That's a kind of instrument that we don't have too much of this. And that can add a lot of value. Human contacts, exchanges, peer-to-peer learning, joint experimentation, and they can work on very concrete problems because they are confronted with the same issues. So I think that if you would miss this instrument, and that's the future of it, that we would miss this basic level of human interaction at local level where cities are in the driving seat. They are not receiving money from elsewhere, from programs. They can do what they want, and they can also have then these relationships, and that's very important for the European cities as well. Because otherwise, how do we show solidarity? How can we also understand the realities of these other countries? So there is also this kind of reciprocity where both cities learn from each other, and also the populations of both cities. So it has a lot of potential, human potential, doing things together, and then also responding directly to the needs of localities they know best. While a lot of cooperation is often conceived and implemented a bit more from above. So bottom up, by the actors themselves and on concrete things. Well, experience shows, because it's not new, decentralized cooperation, that it all depends how you do it. There are municipalities who don't really involve the citizens. They receive the funding, they work together with another city. But today, in this 2 days conference, what I heard is that almost all the 57 partnerships here say if you have not the citizens on board from the beginning, and they co-create with us, they co-implement, they join their resources, it's their project, it will not work. So I think this is an evolution. That was not so much the case necessarily years ago, but now we see that it affects the citizens in many ways. They can be an actor, they can be an actor as a citizen, they can participate in local governance, and at the end of the day, and we had many examples of this, they have a lot of concrete benefits because they are doing concrete actions as well. It's very concrete. So we have seen examples of people getting all kinds of facilities, young people being able to have a startup, all kinds of support directly affecting people, vulnerable people also. So they also are affected in their living conditions. And that's maybe also an advantage of this tool, because this tool allows to really go down to groups. Other programs also try it, but it's not so easy to reach there. So I think we had in this program, it's ending this year, we have in the 57 projects a lot of examples of direct impact on the life and well-being of people in all kinds of sectors. Because I think that there was a long history of decentralized cooperation, but we are at a critical juncture. Because despite support for it, despite funding for it, this instrument now, it was clearly said in the whole conference, has to find its place in the European cooperation system, in the system of the member states. It is a bit too isolated, it's a bit too fragmented, it's not integrated. So for us as an independent foundation, and that's why we also facilitate this program, the biggest challenge is to integrate, to fully value the specificity of this instrument. That does a number of things that we discussed there, and then to make sure that it is connected with all the other programs, the funding, the private funding, all the other support programs. If we can connect these two, give them the right place in the whole portfolio of the EU and the member states, then I think it will be a sustainable modality. But there is also a risk that it will remain a too isolated thing, which is not precisely carried politically, institutionally, and by the other programs. And then it will still remain useful, it will still remain nice, it will have impact and added value, but it will not realize its full potential. But if you can connect this tool with all the rest of the instruments, I think that's the way forward. And the European Union is trying now to make these connections, to make sure that they use these city-to-city partnerships, all kinds of things. Technical capacity building, access to funding. So if we can do these linkages, this instrument is scaled up. It gets more visibility and can do an amplification of impact. If it remains what it is, a self-standing instrument, then it will be complicated. So the next years will be quite critical. My message would be, and most of the cities already do this, is that the city also has an international role. Cities in the world, in Europe, but also in the partner countries, are in a global world. So they have all interested to be connected, to form networks, and to work together. because they are actors of the same level, of the same kind of roles in society. So they have a lot of potential to be connected. And for me, that's the essential message. It's also in your interest, European city interest, southern country interest, to say, let's connect, let's form networks, let's be at global level also to make the voice of local authorities heard. So it is not just local, 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 it is also to make sure that cities together, they can form alliances, let the voice of local authorities heard in all the relevant forums, from the COPs and the COP meetings to all kinds of other meetings where their voice is already heard but could be amplified. So yes, city-to-city partnerships is not only for local delivery, but also for advocacy and policy processes.